Welcome back to PC Building Simulator, everybody. Today we got a new workshop to work around in. The Razer workshop, which looks pretty sick. I mean, they've got all their headsets displayed over here. We've got the free build sign on the wall. We've got light switch toggle on and off, which looks pretty cool with the lights off too. 5 gamers, 4 gamers. Got a nice calendar up on the board. We've got a whole bunch of Razer products, keyboards, headsets, probably some mice in those boxes too. Got all these keyboards, mice, headsets, the monitors or the screens displaying everything at the back. But today we are going to be working inside this case, the Be Quiet Silent Bass 600 in silver. And we're going to be building a computer for less than $700 in here. A gaming computer. And for that we're going to start with the motherboard, which today I chose a B450. The Gigabyte Aorus M. And put that in right there and put all the screws in. And then next up, we are going to go with the for this one, I chose a Ryzen 3. Oops. And I chose the quad-core 1200. Lift this little retention arm. Stick the CPU into the socket, matching the triangles on the corner up. Next up, we're going to install some thermal paste right onto the back there. Then we're going to go to the cooler. And for this one, because it's a cheap cooler, and this one only costs 37 bucks, and it's not the largest cooler, I'm going to put that right there. And that looks good. Next up, we are going with our power supply, and we chose this Shein Power King 250, 250 watt modular. It's perfect in the back there, and that goes in like that. And actually right now we can plug in a few things, like that one. The 8-pin connector from here to there, and the 24-pin from here to there. I'm not going to plug anything else in yet, just because these cords are already out of the way. Except I am going to connect this case fan to the back. And, oh yeah, I can't connect those yet. So next up, we're going with the memory. And we're going with 8 gigabytes of data Spectrix D80 8 gig RGB at 3200 megahertz. And for this build, we only need one of these, so I'm only going to stick it in the one slot there. Whatever slot corresponds with the spot for one stick of memory on your motherboard is where you'll put it. Might be that slot, might be a different one. And next up, we're going with the storage for that, and we're going with actually this one. The Barracuda 500 gig with the 32 megabyte cache, and we'll plug that one in, that one into there, and that one into the power supply. Next up, we're going to install our graphics card, and for this build I chose a GTX 1050 Ti Gaming 4G. This one. Gotta remove the PCI cover. Now we can plug it in. Right there. And then we'll go ahead and plug that into there. And lastly, we're going to put parts back on the PC, including front panel, dust filter, other front panel, top panel. Then we're going to plug in the front panel connectors right to the bottom of the motherboard here, and the other fan to the motherboard. And we're going to plug in the power supply, graphics card, mouse, and keyboard. And I'm going to put it in a OS installation. And we're going to put on the back panel here. And we're going to power it up because we are all done with this build. Going to go right into here to make sure the OS boots correctly. And all booted. We're going to add 3D Mark Advanced Edition so I can benchmark it for you here. And I'm also going to put on the GPU tuner so we can overclock our GPU a little bit and get a little more performance out of it. And yes, we're going to restart now. And as it's starting back up, we're going to hold delete to go into the BIOS. And we're going to go right over here to RAM overclocking, and we're going to turn on XMP to have it run at the speed we're paid for our RAM at 3200 megahertz. We're not going to touch CPU overclock today, we'll do that another time. But yeah, just making sure our CPU is running at what it's supposed to be, and that our storage is being detected correctly, our GPU is detected correctly. Our RAM speed will upgrade after we leave the BIOS here and restart. And we're using one of our 2 memory channels, so you could always upgrade and throw another 8 gig stick of RAM into the other slot on your board, and it would be double the 16 gigs, which is enough if you want to do some video editing. So yeah, we're gonna save those settings, apply changes, and restart. Yes. And as it's restarting, we're going to boot right into the OS. And I'm going to go to 3D Mark Advanced Edition, and we're going to run this test, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, now that that's all finished up, this Times by Extreme score is only 2093. And what I'm going to try to do is get this graphics score up. We're at 1992 right now, with graphics test 1 of 13.35 frames per second and graphics test 2 of 11.15. Gonna check those off there and see if I can beat them in a overclock GPU. And with this, I'm gonna go up 5% on the core voltage and 10% on the core clock. We're going to apply that and get a little and see if we can up the test. I'll be back in a moment with the results. Alright, got our results back, and we had a Times by Extreme score of 10 points higher this time than last time, and our GPU score was 11 points higher here. Frames per second didn't really change much. We went up 0.7 on the graphics test 1 and 0.6 on graphics test 2. So we're going to reopen the GPU tuner, and I'm going to add some more. We're going to boost that up again. And now we're going to go back in and test it again to see if I can get that score up any higher but without crashing the system. Alright, the new score is about, again, 10 points higher than last time for the Times by Extreme. Graphics score a little bit higher. Graphics test 1 another 7 points higher, and graphics test 2 another 0.6 frames per second higher. CPU score still staying the same, I believe. I haven't really taken a peek over that, but we're not focusing on CPU overclocking today, just GPU. But yeah, this system, full cost for it came to $695, which is a pretty good build for this. I mean, you got a GTX 1050 Ti that'll run most modern games at probably high settings, maybe not all the way up to ultra yet, but at least at high. And yeah, the only thing I might suggest to change is a different cooler. Maybe if the CPU comes with a stock cooler, use the stock cooler and save yourself another $37 instead of buying this cheap ass cooler. But anyway, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you have enjoyed this little how-to build and my list of parts for this build. I will try to find them and put them in links for them in the description below, because this system, unlike last week's, you may actually be able to afford and want to buy. But anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, obliterate that like button down below. And subscribe if you're new. Also, comment down below the computer budget you have personally and you'd like to try to see me build something of. And give me a challenge. Maybe I can actually build some really on the low for cheap components computer system. Or maybe you just are stuck on wanting to get your own computer and you don't know anything about where to begin. I can help you with that. But anyways, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!